Hello. We're back. Episode 3 of free content. We got a pretty good
guest today, yeah.
pretty good guest today. No, we have a pretty good program set up for the show tonight.
Yeah.
A couple things to look forward to. Talk about the new movie Nope a little later in the podcast. We went and watched it the other day. Took some notes, grading. We're gonna
review it.
A
Yeah.
little more seriously than the Barbie movies. Like we actually made a rubric, or not a rubric, but categories beforehand this time instead of just
Nope is gonna fail AP chemistry.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we won't grade it off of the lack of diversity like we did Barbie.
Yeah, it's not gonna get a 1 in diversity.
Yeah, if we're grading it on diversity standards in Barbie, it would be a 1 because there's black people. We don't like that.
Yeah,
that's not what
far
the Barbie
too
movie
progressive for the Barbie
Yeah.
movies. Anyway, so stay tuned a little later.
Looking forward to that part.
Yep. But today, what's going on the last couple of days? Well, as we briefly mentioned last episode, we're in this, as Riley put it, useless group. It's called Ethics Forum. It's just like school. It's like the students running certain things. Like we're in charge of homecoming. Or always in charge of homecoming, but miscellaneous things.
Yeah. I don't know how to I mean, do other schools have stuff like this? Or is it
I don't
more
think
committee type stuff? I feel like it's
Well, it's strange because literally it is a student-led, student-organized group.
yeah.
I mean, we have one teacher, facilitator, but the students are making all the decisions and doing it, and it does there is money involved. There are tens of thousands of dollars involved, and the students are in charge of everything. So that is unusual for a school.
Yeah, but even for the stuff like homecoming,
Yeah.
I don't think any school has something even close to ethics seminar. I feel that's what I meant. Yeah. I feel like it must be student council who does homecoming and stuff like that, right?
I feel probably, and I don't think they have the same level of control as we do.
No.
I feel like it's
their student council might have more control.
yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely not the same control as ethics has. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so beginning when the group first started in May, for our grade, we kind of decided that we needed some people on top of the group to not be in charge because there's not any hierarchy, but to facilitate and organize Google Classroom and send out announcements. However, let's just say very much they have taken over, to put it lightly.
The oligarchy.
Yeah, it is literally an oligarchy. For example, literally, the advertising committee, in charge of advertising for homecoming, we're both part of it.
Yeah.
We're in charge of advertising for homecoming. Now that involves many things. One of the things is we're in charge of the Instagram, so we have to post things, advertise to everyone. So obviously we asked for the the Instagram password so we could post things and advertise it. And they're
No.
They're we'd feel very uncomfortable with people having the Instagram password, even though they're not actually supposed to be in charge. That's not actually their role, but that's kind of what it's turned into.
Happy.
So what's the solution to this, you may ask?
Guillotines?
Guillotines,
Yeah.
French Revolution style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. We are starting an uprising. Literally, at this point, I think there's 10 people on board, which is a good amount, especially because it's not like we've talked to everyone. And we're not trying to be mean, but we are
We want the Instagram password.
We want the Instagram password. Like, this is getting out of hand. Like, it's nothing personal against them. We just want the Instagram password. So the natural solution to this was, is like this is in the works still.
We're starting a communist
government. Yeah, we're starting a communist government.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much that. Right now I'm like literally organizing, like messaging 3 different groups of people at the same time, like trying to make everything happen. But honestly, like getting things done.
Are we gonna have a protest?
I'm not sure.
Walk out.
Walk out. There are talks about maybe like doing like a Declaration of Independence. That might be. I'm not sure we're gonna do that. I don't think that's our first. I don't think that's the first place we go. I think we're gonna just like bring our group and literally just talk to the leadership group, and just like try to. We're gonna start with like giving them our demands, and telling them that like, you know, we can have a peaceful transfer of power. You know, this doesn't have to get ugly. And, you know, that might go well.
Maybe. What are our demands?
Well, actually, that was a good question. I was talking to people because obviously we need very specific demands.
Yeah.
The first thing is they just step down from the leadership position and get rid of this hierarchy. Like, this is communism.
Yeah.
You know, we need everyone to be on the same level footing. We need the Instagram password, which
most important.
Now the question is like, do we still probably want someone to like facilitate? But I think we've decided that we don't want any of them to do it because although some of them like do a fine job at it, at this point it's hard because they've kind of taken this role as like a leader. It's going to be hard for them to step down and facilitate, but not overstep, because that's. So it's probably just better to, you know.
Yeah.
But, so we might have to put in someone new to facilitate.
Interesting. Yeah.
There's a couple of different people in mind that I would think of immediately. However, I don't know.
Community council moderator?
The community council moderator? Be able to moderate community council and ethics forum? Maybe. You know.
This is like so not funny to anyone who's listening.
No.
It's just like, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. I'm trying not to like dox like names right now, but like that wouldn't even help. That wouldn't even make it funny. But yeah, that's pretty much the ethics forum situation.
Yeah, I've shown up to a couple meetings.
Yeah.
I've done my fair share of ethicsing. I feel like, honestly, if we have this revolution, people will probably be actually more involved. And we might actually get significantly more stuff done. That would be the hope.
That would be the hope. Or this is a last-ditch effort to get homecoming done in time.
Do you know what does need leadership? Our internship.
That is true. I feel like Annie has kind of stepped forward in a way, which like that's good. Like she's doing a good job at that. But like we need to have a meeting. Like this is bad.
We're just embezzling funds at this point.
True, we are. Well, at least we have lunch figured out.
Like, most important
when
part.
people show up, like there's gonna be food. Like
we haven't figured out like school safety and mental health.
But there'll be food. Like
we got
maybe even grapes.
Maybe in a vegan option.
Oh. The internship. That's actually like coming. That's happening fast. Like the summer is progressing. It's stressing me out actually.
I'm just choosing not to think about it, which is probably the exact opposite of what I should be doing.
We should like message them that like after this episode.
Yeah,
like, we should say something. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on, yes.
Okay,
So-
well,
Big ticket item up.
big ticket item.
I've been really looking forward to this segment.
Yeah.
We've actually been planning to do a movie review for like 2-3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe I feel like it was more. Maybe like a month.
Yeah.
I feel like we had
probably
this
since we
idea
just-
before we restarted.
Yeah, that's true actually. So, movie review time is finally here.
Yeah, finally.
I think this is probably see a lot more of this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we went and watched the new What's His Bucket Peele movie.
Very professional.
What's his first name? I don't even remember.
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele. That's what I was. I
Yeah.
knew it started with a J.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Peele. Kind of like a. It was marketed as horror, but it's kind of thriller,
Yeah.
kind of Lovecraftian in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not fully. I mean, it's hard to have a full Lovecraftian film
Yeah.
just because like
Mhm.
it's a movie, but definitely a lot of
Inspiration.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Which I very much enjoy. That's kind of
for sure.
my,
Yeah,
Well-
I love the monster.
yeah.
That was big fan.
So anyway, Will and I watched it together, but we have literally not talked about it.
Yeah, we walked out of the movie theater and we're like just looking at each other awkwardly because we made this agreement to not talk about it until like we got on the podcast because we were gonna rate it individually. But it was just like
So,
we were just like
like you walk out of a movie theater and you talk about the movie,
yeah,
but we
it-
couldn't do
it
that.
felt so wrong.
It felt extremely wrong.
Maybe
So-
we have to rethink our business model.
Well, if we don't go to an actual movie theater, we can just watch it separately.
That's true. That's true.
But
Yeah.
like,
mm-hmm.
you'll just miss out on the Coleman basement. You just come and watch the movie by yourself down here. But anyway, scores,
Yeah. Well, actually, let's run through what the
criteria, what
or
the,
the categories were.
categories. Yeah.
Um.
You want to do that?
Yeah, I'll do that. So, I mean, this is unordered because we have it in different orders.
Mm-hmm.
So cinematography,
Yeah.
the score,
Mm-hmm.
the plot,
Yeah.
characters, and acting.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 5 things we're gonna focus on. Yeah.
Yep.
And then we're gonna give each of those a 1 to 10 score,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're gonna give our final overall score.
Overall score.
So
Cinematography.
I feel like we should hop. Do you want to go one by one, or do you want to like say them all, and then
I think maybe say them all and then go one by one.
okay? I think
Because
that's a
that'd be
good
kind of
idea.
fun.
Yeah. So I think we'll edit these scores in. I think.
Yeah.
So you'll see them. So you don't have to remember them.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of work. So cinematography. Would you give it?
9.
Same.
Score, I gave an 8.
I gave it a 6.
That's probably the biggest. Plot, I gave 8.
Same.
Characters, 8.
Yep.
Acting, 9.
Same. Wow.
That is funny.
The only thing we disagreed on was the score. That's crazy. And would you give it overall?
8.5 overall.
I would have given it an 8.5 as well, but I wasn't doing
Oh, decimals.
yeah.
You rounded to 9.
Yeah.
I just figured, well, to be honest, I just took the average I had. 9. I had 2 9s and 3 8s.
Yeah.
So I just averaged and rounded.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do my scores at true average.
Yeah.
I I took these scores and then my average was about I think it was 8,
Mm-hmm.
but I ticked it up to a 9 because
just felt right.
I liked it. Like there was I enjoyed it enough to move it up.
And this is pretty 8.59. That's pretty similar to the critic Rotten Tomatoes
Yeah,
scores
I think
and
they're
stuff.
at 82.
82, somewhere around there.
Yeah, which I feel like is a little low, just a teeny bit.
Yeah.
But I think that's
Pretty comparable.
Yeah. the audience score is just abysmal.
Yeah, it's like
however-
69%, right?
oh my god, we'll get into
We'll
that.
get into
People are stupid.
So, cinematography
Well, how'd you feel about it overall? Like,
Overall?
let's just talk generally.
overall.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Same.
I thought it was very good.
Mhm.
I don't even like pretty much like every aspect of it. I was like very drawn in the movie. It was very
Yeah.
entertaining.
I was pretty what's the word? Not engaged, but like when you believe or like
yeah.
there's a word.
Uh
Invested.
invested. Yeah.
I was pretty solidly invested throughout the entire
Mhm.
movie,
Yeah.
which actually is
That's pretty big.
that's kind of rare for me. I normally like
Yeah.
maybe it's like halfway or something, but for the good majority of it, I was like pretty invested and pretty like in the world.
Yeah. Same actually.
Yeah.
We go through the
Yeah, let's go through them.
cinematography. I thought was very good. The monster went burr.
Yeah, the monster. Well, we should say we're gonna get into spoilers now.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah.
You have not seen it, which is like it's a new movie, so
Yeah.
chances are you haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah. Cinema. Yeah, I felt very good about the cinematography.
Yeah.
I.
What time did we start?
Who knows?
One second. Bear.
Left. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Cinematography.
Was very good. I like
Yeah.
throughout the movie. I mean, to be honest, at the beginning, I was like paying a lot of attention to the cinematography.
Mhm.
'Cause I was like
Same.
focusing like critically, but then I kind of got too invested in the plot and I
Yeah.
kind of forgot to like
That's
actually pay attention to the cinematography.
mhm.
But it's actually good because I never was sitting here like, oh, that was a bad shot or
yeah.
that
I
was.
agree. I don't think there was a single bad shot in the movie. There wasn't a
Mhm.
shot that I was just like, why are we still on this or
Yeah.
something like that. Functionally, I think it was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I also have to say, I think obviously the monster was
Very good.
that was probably my favorite plot.
The monster was really good.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that it was like going off the UFO stereotype
Yeah.
and then it was a monster.
yeah.
And then it just kind of like did some trolling at the end and like
yeah. I mean, if you've seen it, you know what we're talking about. Basically,
it just kind of like
it's like a bunch of sales.
yeah,
Is how I'd put it. And like just
it was just it kind of think Pokemon evolution, like this manually evolved to the next
yeah.
evolution of monster.
It kind of turned into like this silky jellyfish almost.
Yeah.
It pretty much was like a sky jellyfish.
Mm-hmm.
I thought was really cool.
Very cool.
And then I also loved the fractal eye.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh
was
yeah.
so cool.
Also, can we talk about how cool it was? You could hear all the screaming of the people.
That was so
That was
good.
really
Oh
good.
my god, I love that. That was
And the scene of like the blood coming out and
Oof.
pouring on the house.
so good. I literally
Very
just got
good.
goosebumps thinking about that. Oh my.
And it was because you could hear the horse screaming earlier in the
Yeah.
movie, and then it came back. It's like, oh, it was in the UFO
Yeah.
monster boy.
And like, just like clicks a little bit and you're like,
Mm-hmm. Like that was very, very good.
yeah. I noticed that they showed the entire UFO very early on.
That's
Like
true.
you got a good look at it. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometime in the second act, I want to say.
But you didn't realize that it was.
Yeah, that's like what I really liked about that reveal is because it like you saw it, but you actually didn't know what it was until later.
It was
And
an
then
unidentified flying object.
oh my god. And then by the end it's like this dope ass jellyfish looking.
Can we talk about how sick the scene was where they were like in the shot? He was on the horse flying and it like came right behind him.
That was such a good shot.
That was
Yeah.
I
love that. I think the only reason I didn't give it a 10 was because I don't think I think the action shots were incredible. Like, I loved all the monster shots and I love everything like that. I just think story wise, I don't think the cinematography, like it told the story functionally.
Yeah.
But I don't think they used the cinematography to convey the story as much as they could have.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I think like there was like I think camera shake could have been a little more dynamic. And then I mean, like it was all good. It worked, but nothing like jumped out to me as in like, oh, this is like a technique that they're using repeatedly to convey this thing. So yeah, I didn't like go above and beyond. Like I'd give like the actual like shots and like the way they use the camera like an 8.
Yeah.
But then I'd give like the color and the actual content of the shot, like the monster, and I'd give
like
that a 10. Yeah, so like I put it together at a 9.
Yeah.
So I think we're pretty agreed. It's like
cinematography wise,
really well shot, super clean.
Makes me happy that we were on the same page there, because we've been awkward if like we're very different.
It's like I've no complaints with it. That's the thing. It's just I wouldn't give it a 10 because I just know there are movies that are better than it.
And a 10, I mean, getting a 10 is very difficult.
Yeah.
Always room for improvement. Score.
Yeah, so this is where
this is the one spot we differ.
Yeah, so you said an 8, right?
I said an 8. I'll explain mine first.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it makes sense that you're more critical just because you know more about music and actual like theory and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, for context, I'm a musician, play piano for 10 years. I do a lot of composition, and I do actually want to be a film composer. So like this is kind of
you grind music theory.
Yeah, so this is my jam.
You know, I'm also a musician. I play trombone, but I do not. My music theory is very weak. I don't grind music theory.
Yeah,
and I don't compose. Like I play music. I don't know music. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I said, like the score, I thought it was like good, and like it did well with like the emotions, like in like the tense scenes, like it definitely like made you feel tense. I like one scene that just popped in my mind just barely was like when it had like the aliens that were actually the kids that were fooling around. I thought the score did a very good job there.
I don't remember what the score is doing there.
But
was it actual music or is it atmosphere?
I don't remember.
Because one thing I noticed is that throughout pretty much the entire first and probably second act, the score was extremely minimal. Yeah. And like at times where you would like assume there's like a score, like an actual like musical content, a lot of it was like Foley. Yeah. And just like atmospheric stuff. Like especially like when all the people at the fair got sucked up and eaten by the monster. Yeah. There was actually no music then. It was all just like really alien noises, which is super cool. Yeah. Right? Like I loved it. I digged it, but
it's gonna hurt the score.
Yeah.
Because there's no and that I think that kind of like my like actual like criticism here, like this one I actually did write down. I was never sitting here and like, wow, this is going super hard, like John Williams style. Like there are plenty of movies that I'm seeing in the score like, wow, this is popping off. Yeah. And that never once happened during the movie. And that probably is because it wasn't actually music. Yeah. But, and you know, maybe that should have lowered my score more. But I just felt, I did really feel like the music and the sound that was there did like very much
Yeah,
invest you in and like suck you into.
I agree. I had a 7 for a while.
Mhm.
But then I thought about it hard and I brought it down to a 6.
Yeah.
I think this movie illustrates some really interesting things about cinema composition and scoring,
Yeah.
especially in like a horror / thriller context, because this wasn't a horror movie, right?
Yeah.
But there were horror aspects
Elements,
to
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Mhm. And they did a good job with those.
Yes, I definitely agree. Little side note, there was parts where I was really tense.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I have watched horror movies and not being as, I don't want to say scared, but just really apprehensive.
There was a good jump scare too.
Which one was that?
When the horse fell down on the car.
Oh, that was so good. Oh
That
my
one
God,
was good.
That got me.
that was a good one.
Yeah.
Because just you were so tense in that moment. Like that was
Yeah.
such a tense moment. And then bang.
Yeah. Going back to cinematography a little bit, they did really cool things of not showing the monster during those scenes. It was just him in the car.
Yeah.
And
but you just knew it was there. And the lack of rain.
Yeah.
And I thought about it in that scene. The reason I started pouring so hard is because that was the edge of the monster.
Exactly.
That was very good.
I really loved how they did that. So that was, I love that scene.
Yeah.
That was
cinematography
was so good. I love the way they shot that scene.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the score. What was on? Yeah, there's a lot of horror elements.
Mm-hmm.
I was decently happy with the actual musical content.
Yeah.
With one exception,
Mm-hmm.
actually. Well, it's not like I wasn't unhappy, but I didn't quite agree with the mood it set. And that was in the climactic scene where he's riding the horse, right?
Yeah.
And then he lets the little flag thingies out.
Yeah.
And then the thing kind of swerves in the void, and it's a really epic and cool scene. I think the music went too heavily into pure epic.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked it to have kept some of the
Tense.
horror and suspense elements. I think the general idea of having an epic score there is a good idea. It just felt a little bit too heroic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, when I'm looking at when I'm listening to a score, there's a couple elements that I look for.
Yeah.
The first is motives, which for the non-musical audience is essentially, or motifs are themes, like character themes.
Yeah.
And
something John Williams does amazingly.
Yeah. And specifically, for example, a monster theme. You see that a lot, in Stranger Things, specifically, there's this one musical theme that plays every single time. I think it was the Demogorgon showed up, or
yeah. I didn't watch the new season, and I haven't watched it in forever. So
if you've watched Stranger Things, you know what I'm talking about. There's this very specific auditory cue that you hear all the time.
That's going to build tension and suspense.
Yeah.
You know something's going to happen.
But I do have mixed feelings about that, which I'll get to later. The other thing is character motifs and stuff like that. Those are really important. There's a couple other things such as tone. I think the tone that the score sets is really, really important. And I'm also thinking about that narratively. Is the tone, how's the narrative being conveyed by the score?
Yeah.
And then finally is how a score takes those motifs and character themes and changes them to show like character growth or how situations change in development, like how they develop on those musical themes essentially. So I was very disappointed in the score with the character themes.
Yeah,
I don't think there were
Yeah, I
any
don't remember any.
which I was unhappy about.
That's understandable. Yeah.
I think, and I think that's why I was I wasn't very unhappy, but why I was unhappy with the music at the climax, because it was not drawing on any previous material.
Yeah.
It was an epic song. It was a cool song, but it was not building on anything.
Yeah.
The score was very segmented. It's like if you gave a composer each scene to score in isolation.
Yeah.
That's like what they would kind of give you. There was not a lot of continuity. And then on top of that, like, it literally just like wasn't a score for a vast majority of it, which I found very interesting. I think it was a very cool choice, because I think sometimes movies overuse music.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time it really dictates how you feel. And I think actually laying off of that is a really interesting technique that just leaves it a little more ambiguous, which was definitely a big theme. And so I think it was an interesting idea, like how little they used the score. However, I think it went too far. And then when they did have the score, they didn't make it count.
Yeah.
The other thing is the music with jump scares. I was satisfied with how they incorporated like the horror score elements. Particularly what they have is like a double bass and like a bowed double bass in cello.
Yeah.
Playing like a dissonant, usually like a tritone or something like that, like a very like vroom. And like they had that with the when they actually showed the horse statue that one time, and that was kind of like a jump scare because they just cut to it and it was like vroom. And then also when there was the blood raining on the house, they had that discordant stuff. But I also wasn't particularly impressed with that either, because that's a really stereotypical horror movie
technique.
Yeah, like what you'll hear all the time is this kind of cacophonous string sound that's just like all over the place and doesn't have any harmonic content, and that does a very good job at making you feel uneasy and tense. But that's really all it does. It's not conveying any sort of, like, it doesn't have any narrative purpose. It's just purely atmosphere. It's like, it is literally just like more sound design, just like a little more musical.
Yeah.
There is no musical content in there.
Which kind of goes off what you were saying before, the
like
motifs.
The lack of themes. Like, so like even when they had music playing with like the monster, it was very much just like yeah. So yeah, I was not very impressed by the score. So yeah, I mean, to recap, basically I disagreed with the tone at the climax. And then what I would have loved if they had kept that same style, kept it exactly the same, but if they had previewed that sort of epic style at other points in the movie.
So it was building up, and then
and then particularly with OJ, I think OJ should have had a theme.
Yeah,
because I think that would have been a very good thing for that climactic kind of chase scene.
Plus, you can kind of like showcase character development through a theme.
Yes.
And so when there's not one, it's just hard.
I would have loved if in the scene where he's working with the horse on set, if like he had a really subdued and weak theme then,
Yeah.
because that was very much narratively what they were portraying him as, like he
Very sad and depressed.
yeah, like he wasn't able to like stand up for himself essentially. And I'll also get onto, I wasn't super happy with the actual, how do I say this? I really liked OJ's character. Like I was a big fan of the character. However, I wasn't super happy with how they actually showed the character and displayed that on the screen. Like I loved like the idea of the character, and I think like it was good, like everything was there, but it wasn't quite executed how I would like it to be. And that's like ties into the score. They didn't have a theme for him. They didn't have anything. It's just
Yeah.
the score really was all tone and atmosphere and telling you the emotion, but it wasn't conveying anything story-wise.
Good way to put it.
Yep.
Moving the plot.
Yes. Let's move on to the plot.
Both put 8 out of 10.
Yep.
Back after this, we really the same on everything.
Yeah.
Thought it was very good. I will say, well, like overall, plot was very good.
Yep.
Very liked what they did with it. I thought the one thing is that they did go in a lot of different directions. Sometimes it felt slightly less flushed out. Like they had the subplot of like he has to sell the horses, like
Yeah.
family farm, and then that was kind of dropped.
Yes, I completely agree with that. That was actually one of my main criticisms when it came to the plot.
Because like it felt very like set up, like I need to set up, like I need to buy these horses back.
Yep.
Like this means a lot. We're thinking about selling the farm.
Yes.
And then it was just completely ignored.
I completely agree. That was my main criticism when it comes to the plot, because what you'll see very commonly in a horror movie or like a thriller, something like this, where there's like a relatively tame first / like a bit of the second act, and then the third act is like just all action in the essentially like the first, when it's calm, it's like they're choosing to stay there, right?
Yeah.
And then as soon as shit starts going down, then it's a bit more like they are trying to survive.
Yeah.
Which they still didn't even quite do. It was like they chose to go back to the place, which I have feelings about that as well. But generally, like when stuff started happening, they didn't really have a choice. Like they were just trying to survive, and that's where the original plot about the horses and stuff doesn't become important, because they're literally just trying to survive. And that's like a very common structure you'll see, is there's like the character development story, and then there's the inevitable threat that comes in that provides the main drive to the plot.
Plus, like the guy dies, so like it doesn't,
The
guy that he sold the horses to.
Yeah.
But it just still feel like they put a lot of emphasis into it, and then it didn't pay off.
What I noticed is he was good through the first act.
Yeah.
When it got to the second act, when things started happening, there wasn't enough plot drive from the monster. There wasn't enough like incentive for them to like stay and watch it. And then they also dropped the horse thing too quickly. So essentially they didn't, like, they weren't under pressure for the monster, and they didn't keep. Essentially what I'm saying is like there's like the first part of the plot, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the second part of the plot, which is like the monster. They normally you'd want them to overlap, so you have like a solid sense of drive and purpose all the way through the movie.
Mhm.
However, there was like a gap between them where you're left like, what are the characters doing right now? Like what?
Yeah, and like also, if they were so pressed for money that they had to be selling these horses and like thinking about selling the farm, how could they buy so much expensive camera equipment and not think about it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that felt kind of weird.
Yeah. I think, and that was one of my biggest gripes about the plot, was that I didn't feel like they had enough reason to actually try and stay and get proof in video of the monster. I felt like that was
Like when they first started happening, I don't
Yeah.
know, just sell the place and leave.
I think, I mean, it's like I said with the characters. I love all the ideas
Mm-hmm.
that are on the table with this movie. Particularly like trying to carry on the family legacy, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea trying to like capture like this incredible moment.
Yeah.
I get that. That makes sense. I just feel like they weren't developed enough.
Mhm. Yeah. It wasn't quite flushed out to the.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we both gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
So, like, this, we sound more critical than
It
Eric
was
is.
it was extremely functional, I'll
Yeah.
say. The only part where I actually became actually there was 2 parts. Oh, I have another main gripe actually that I completely forgot to mention.
Mhm.
This is a personal pet peeve of mine that I really don't like when movies do. And they do it all the time because just like I'll explain. So what you'll see really commonly is that there's like a literal finale, right? They get the thing they want to. Like they
Yeah.
get it. They got the shot, right?
Oh, and then something bad happens again.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then they have to go through this whole cycle again. I really don't like that.
It was kind of predictable, too.
Yes.
Like, you knew, like, when they got that shot, everything was good. You knew it
Yeah.
was not done.
Exactly. I really don't like when you put that much like emphasis and like tension and make it such a climax and such a big point. And then you kind of just like offhandedly throw it away.
I will say they did it better than some movies
Yeah.
do, with like the guy kind of being weird.
Yes.
Whatever he did, because they kind of hinted at it before. Like there are definitely movies
Mhm.
that the equivalent would have been like the monster just comes back and does something stupid,
Yeah. Or like, oops, they didn't like completely kill the monster. And
or oops, the film got water on it, like something stupid like that.
or Stranger Things season 4. You care about spoilers?
I'm mixed about the concept.
I'll just explain it vaguely. This is for the audience that has watched Stranger Things. This pissed me off, okay? The ending, right? Like Steve whatever I forgot. The people who are going into the house. They literally did it. They got him. They got the Molotov cocktails. Like it should have worked. And then just for plot reasons, they just like, oh, he goes out a window and then he's fine because they have to have a last season. Come on. That's so lazy. That is the laziest shit I've ever seen.
There's another season.
Yeah, there's going to be another season. Anyways, that tangent aside, I think, like I said, the idea was there
Yeah.
for him to like go and try and get the impossible shot.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't buy into that concept and character enough to justify throwing away all that progress that they just made.
Yeah.
I think if they had really sold it to me, and I'd really like got into his head, I don't think like I liked his character, great character,
Mm-hmm.
but for him to single-handedly destroy all the progress that they worked for, right?
Yeah.
In-
Almost kill all of them.
In essentially being like the villain of the story in a weird sense, or like
Yeah. In a way, he did. I mean,
Yeah.
in the
yeah,
yeah.
like not a villain, but like he became an antagonist at
Yeah.
that one point when he went and tried to get the shot. If you're going to have him play such a pivotal role in the plot, in the narrative, you need to develop him more.
Yeah.
Because
That's true. Because he came in so late.
Yeah. I think he needed more screen time, and I think he needed more backstory and more life to really sell that.
Mm.
That like
I don't know.
Like
that would have
that-
been
that-
tricky to do.
Yeah, I agree.
But if they did pull it off,
Because after that happened, I was far less invested.
yeah.
I was not throughout that entire whatever part. I was like,
I mean, the monster was cool.
yes, I love the monster in the second part. And when like for a couple minutes after it happened, I was just like kind of out of it.
Mm.
As soon as it got back to OJ and his sister,
Yeah.
I became invested again. When
Yeah,
they had
that's
like
fair.
the whole like kind of
Like when the guy was getting eaten, like the
Yeah.
delivery guy was getting eaten with like the fence, like I did not care.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it came back.
Mm-hmm. And then I think they dropped it a little bit, but they picked it back up because they went back to the actual characters in the stuff they'd set up earlier.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. It got me invested a lot again.
Yeah, that was actually this kind of, I don't know. Well, that's kind of characters. But that last scene where they were both there
Yeah.
was very good because they set up the dynamic between
Mm-hmm.
sister and OJ. I
Yeah.
think fed into that.
I will also say I think the plot drive of like they're trying to get this picture. They're trying to get proof. After they got it and then lost it, I was not invested in the sister trying to get the picture with the well.
Yeah.
Like I was just like we saw the tapes fall out. Maybe you could go salvage those. Those are probably like maybe okay, you know, like
I don't know, bro. Just
Yeah.
survive.
yeah, I was like
Like you had to have insurance in that range. Like the payout's probably.
yeah. So that, I mean, overall, I felt very good about the plot. I
Mhm.
think the idea was very good. I think extremely functional. Had some really good elements to it. It just need to be better.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's why it's an 8. I thought it was good. It could have been a
Could-
10.
Yeah.
Like it could have been a 10.
It was there.
Yeah.
Like the idea was there for sure.
Mm.
But
So fucking hard.
for sure.
Oh my god. Like I'm just thinking about like the things like we're asking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like that's ridiculous. Like
yeah. They did a very good job with
I'm
it.
very impressed with the plot that they put out there. I was
Yeah.
extremely happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like they executed that very well.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Characters.
Characters. So we both had 8 out of 10 again.
Yeah. OJ was definitely the best character, I would say.
Yes.
And the sisters next because she was very dynamic. I felt.
Really?
I felt that way. Because like at the beginning, I mean, I can kind of see in the way that at the beginning she was not a very likable character.
No, not at all. That was like one of like my main notes in the beginning.
Like she was annoying.
Yeah.
And like that was kind of the point.
Mm-hmm.
But like they almost overstepped it a little bit.
It was close.
And like the brother was like very much like depressed, and like the sister is like no, like you're stepping into his life. Clearly she wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because they kind of set that up
Mm-hmm.
a little bit before, and he's just trying to do his thing. He's trying to do his work.
Yeah.
And she's not doing it. I will say at the end though, she did like that whole last scene. She did a very good job, like
Yeah.
she did a good job working.
Mm-hmm.
It was very different than the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I would say it was very dynamic.
I liked the sister's character much more by the end.
Yeah.
And they also gave her a bit of backstory as well,
Mhm.
like in the second act when they talked about like she didn't get her horse and like her dad kind of just left her out of the family business essentially.
Yeah.
Which I think was definitely a good touch. It
Mhm.
added a lot.
And that scene I was talking about before, like the end when they're both facing, you can kind of see, like it wasn't directly said, but I feel like the sister was like very much realized that like almost regretful. Like she was like, no, OJ should not be the one to die here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I came here, like I've literally just been annoying them this entire time. Like I have not been listening to him, and now he's gonna die.
Yeah. And that was like the moment that got me reinvested because I was like, oh shit. This means something.
Yeah.
You know?
The stakes were very high,
Yeah.
which that's in the plot category, but like they did do a very good job with stakes.
I think, well, I mean, like talking about stakes were good the entire time until
Threw away
the tapes. And then
but then they came back again in the
yeah.
Whatever he was, the camera guy,
Mm-hmm.
he was fine for a side character. He did well for a side character. He was a side character.
Yeah.
He was kind of funny. The Razor product placement got me a little bit. I liked his apartment. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed his character. I don't think I would have wanted more or less of him. I think he was very good, very functional. Yeah. Like you said, a solid side character.
Solid side character.
I'm conflicted about OJ.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like this really common theme throughout this entire movie is like, it's all there. Everything is there.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted it shown a little more.
Yeah.
And I have mixed feelings about my opinion on that because it's kind of like there's opposing viewpoints. It's the director and the writer shouldn't have to spoon feed you the story, right? Like you don't want that. You don't want it to be in your face.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also want it to be there enough for you to be able to actually feel it and not have to infer it, if you know what I mean. And what I would have wanted from OJ is I wanted more emotional scenes from him. Yeah. I really feel like he did not emote throughout pretty much the entire movie.
Which was kind of part of his character in a way.
I agree. I think if they were going to do that, they should have showed how like that hurt him or how that's affecting his life, which they did a bit with the sister. I think the dynamic of her not like him not talking to her was a good dynamic. But I feel like we didn't get enough into his head. It was always very much like you just see the outside of him, which is very much just.
And it's kind of what I wrote down in my notes. Not too dynamic. Like it would have been nice to see like a change in that.
Yeah, and I think we did.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's there. There was a change.
Yeah.
I just like in the earlier, I would have liked to seen him care a little bit more about his father, maybe like about what like the business means to him specifically, because I think that was one thing that was actually kind of glaringly missing. Is
did he care about the business?
Yeah, like his actions show that a lot, but why was he still there? Why was he going back?
Like, why was he trying to buy the horses back?
Mm-hmm.
Like, clearly he did care, but like,
It wasn't really fully explained why. Like, did he look up to his father, like his father's legacy and stuff like that? Well, I mean, he did. He obviously said that there's like a very obvious point in the movie where he's like, he made something like incredible.
yeah, that's true.
But like, I never saw him get any joy out of training the horses.
Mm-hmm.
Not once, I don't think. And that was the main thing for me, is I felt like he had no drive or purpose as a character besides just keeping the ranch going. Like, I feel like it's like he didn't enjoy what he was doing. Like, I never saw him enjoy it. And
Yeah.
that's fine to have if you incorporate that into the story
Mm-hmm.
and show him being like more obviously like very listless and kind of like hopeless, like meaningless. But it kind of didn't. It just turned it into him just being there and not emoting.
Yeah. And I feel like it's hard because it's a hard battle. Again, we were
Yeah.
asking such a hard thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because at the same time, they wanted him to be a very depressed, beat
Ye-
down person that like clearly is not mentally well.
Yeah.
But like also what you said would have been nice to see as well.
Yeah. And I don't think I would have wanted any like crying scenes or something like that. But just some display of emotion. Because I didn't know how he felt about his father for like the vast majority of the movie.
Yeah.
And
like when he was like at the business, like doing the horse scene,
Yeah.
it was very hard to tell if he liked the business at
yeah.
all.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like he was just kind of there, but he didn't.
Exactly. Is there anything else we wanted to touch on with characters?
Oh, well, the other character, the
film?
film guy, I feel
Yeah.
like we kind of already talked about him.
Yeah, we did.
But he was probably the weakest character
Yeah.
just because he came in. I mean, he was there the
Yeah.
whole time, but not really. Like, he
Yeah.
was introduced, but you didn't. He was just a random side character.
Yeah.
Like, he was an extra, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came in, and he kind of had his, like, weird, funky, like, looking at the,
Yeah.
like watching
editing.
the.
Yeah.
It would have, like, I mean, we already really talked about it, but
Yeah.
it would have been nice when he was a little flushed out.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the only other character that I thought about was sitting here is the guy.
The theme park owner.
Mm-hmm.
We should definitely.
We should talk about him.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah.
He was very good. I liked his trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the whole monkey subplot was good.
Yeah, I agree.
Can we talk about also, like, whoa, that was brutal.
Yeah.
That was such a brutal scene to show.
Yeah,
It is refreshing after
Yeah.
watching so much Marvel.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. It was just like when he beat like the monkey like beat up the girl like
Just
pulverized her.
continuously.
And then like he stopped,
Mhm.
right? But then like he heard her like moaning and like
And he just kept, and then he went
He
back.
just went back and just like, and then like you heard her stop, and it was just like,
And then the other guy comes down,
yeah,
and you could tell, it's not surprising the monkey felt threatened in a way.
Yeah.
Because he was being loud and fast
Yeah.
moving.
yeah, mm-hmm.
So then he died.
Yeah,
And that, again, the cinematography there was very good.
yeah.
That was a very well filmed
I think
scene.
all the stuff with the monkey subplot was,
Very good.
yeah. I liked how they showed it. They really took their time developing it.
Mm-hmm. They did. I mean, it's funny how, in a way, minor that whole subplot was, but how long it took to develop.
I think a lot there are people who definitely don't like it.
Yeah.
And wouldn't like it.
And I feel like that's a skill issue. I'll say.
But I mean, like, I could see how I could get like bored of it.
Mm-hmm. But it really didn't take up much screen time.
It really didn't. And I think it also, it really did have it didn't have a plot. It didn't drive the plot at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't a plot device. But whatever. But narratively, it had such an impact on the story they were telling.
And also, it added to the tension as well.
Yeah,
which is very.
it's
good.
also just fucking cool.
It was yeah. And like, can we talk about how traumatizing that is for that kid?
Oh my god!
Like, literally, not only did he watch two of these people that he spends all the time with filming literally get murdered by his monkey that he spends all the time with and is literally like friends with, but then the monkey comes to him.
Yeah.
They do a fist bump, and he gets shot.
Yeah.
Like that scene, like you could like that.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
I also love like after they showed the entire scene, right, with him hiding on the table when like the camera like slowly comes into the set, right?
Yeah.
After that, and then it cuts with the monkey dead and him just staring. I loved how it cut to him.
And just him staring.
Yeah, because like that
you
was
could tell like PTSD.
It was just so good.
Like, that was very. And then that character, because that character would have been nothing without that monkey subplot. And that character was very good because of that.
Yeah.
Like straight up, and it made you
he could have been like that character where it's like, oh, we're on this dude again. Like I just want to go back to the big scary monster. I was never bored when it cut to him.
And he could have been shown as like an antagonist because he's like kind of buying the horses. You know, like I'm gonna buy your ranch. But he was not shown he's not shown as the antagonist at all.
I really appreciated that. It was like it was just a business relationship, you know.
Yeah.
Like
very much mutual.
Yeah.
Like that was very good.
And refreshing. Yeah.
And like the whole scene of like the back like museum like with the sister.
Yeah.
That was very good. And then when it cut later, like man, this guy really saved that shoe.
Yeah. The shoe is like one of those things where it's like I have no reason to like it as much as I did, but I loved the shoe. I loved the shoe. Like from the first time I saw it, I'm like, it's standing upright.
Yeah.
I love this. Like I couldn't tell you, like it probably has some deeper meaning, you know. And I think it's like a reference to how the main monster like sucks up things and consumes it and kind of like links the monster and the ape just visually with like it's standing upright, and then how everything like how like the inflatable things would go upright, like so I think it definitely has a use there, and I think like I thought it was really cool. I was just like it was so cool because it was just like standing there amidst the chaos, just like I loved it. It was so satisfying.
I don't know why people didn't like that whole monkey subplot.
Yeah,
and then plus like what Charlie was saying yesterday with like I was talking about, you know, how he was like kind of tamed, how like the different animal like comparison. Yeah, that was also good.
Yeah, I mean, should probably explain that a little bit because we haven't touched on that. I mean, the entire monkey subplot was like to really show how. I
don't know. I don't remember his name.
Neither do I. The only name I remember is OJ.
Yeah,
but that is not. That's just a me skill issue. Yeah. I can't remember names at all. But the ranch owner.
Or not the.
Theme park owner.
Yeah.
I mean, like it actually had like two purposes. The first was like to really hammer home like the animal baseness, just like base primalness of the monster
Mm-hmm.
and really parallel it to like just the unrestrained like rage of the ape.
This is not. It almost made you feel for the monster in a way.
Yeah, it really just put you in
It's just
the
an
mindset.
animal doing an animal.
Exactly. Yeah, and it very well could have been, like, I could have made the mistake of thinking it was like sentient,
Mm-hmm.
but through that comparison,
Because that would be especially you're talking about aliens the whole time.
like that's what I was expecting.
Mm. That was I didn't even think about that till now.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the post movie, but that was very refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
That it was just an animal being an animal.
Yeah,
Like
that was great, and it really adds into like you said, the whole Lovecraftian thing, just like
mm-hmm.
the lack of like almost purpose, but like it was just so nebulous. It came. It's this thing that just randomly exists.
Yeah.
And is just beyond our comprehension. It still operates on the same fundamental laws of nature that we know.
Yeah.
I thought that like dichotomy of it just being completely foreign and completely alien and just an unrecognizable life form to us.
But it's still just an animal.
Exactly. Like I thought that was really
the monkey
cool.
subplot definitely drove that home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like the thing that Charlotte pointed out was that how the monkey behaved very passively and friendly towards
because he treated the monkey with respect. Like he
Yeah.
was just sitting there. He wasn't he was obviously afraid, but he wasn't showing it to the monkey.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
he didn't like get up, run away, like scream. If he did
Yeah.
that, he would have died.
Yeah.
But he gave the bad boy a fist bump.
Yeah. Well, almost. Oh my god. I just when the monkey was walking around, when he walked around the chair, I just knew it was gonna be a shot of the monkey slowly looking
Mhm.
at the kid. I don't give a fuck. It was so good. I was just like, oh my god, that is terrifying. just its eyes
Yeah.
and just like
The blood.
oh god, just like the way it just looked at him was just chilling.
Yeah.
I love
Seriously.
that.
Why do people not like that scene?
I don't
understand.
How are so many people saying they were bored with this movie?
I don't know. It's literally not boring at all.
I don't understand.
I want to see if Jeremy would get bored.
He would get so bored with it.
But we wouldn't understand it.
No. Like, off the get-go, the father dies. Right?
Yeah.
That's some plot drive and like
Kind of
character.
a cool way, too.
Yeah.
Like, he just died.
Yeah. That was great. And he also just like stayed standing. That was also
Mhm.
great.
That was a good scene,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then also the fact that he was dying in the car.
That was all.
That was like
I
very
forgot about that
sad.
scene.
It
Yeah.
was very sad.
And it kind of set the. OJ was just, again, kind of emotionless during
Yeah.
that whole. Especially like when in the hospital.
Yeah, that's like what I was thinking. Like I wanted a bit more. Not a ton more, just a bit more.
Acting.
Yeah, we should go into acting.
9 out of 10, both. It was good. I feel like I'm not
Yeah.
even qualified. I don't know if there was like I couldn't think of a specific reason why I didn't give it a 10.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like it wasn't a 10.
Mm-hmm. I actually think I have a bit more concrete reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, I want to say like I love the acting. I think they did an
Mhm.
incredible job.
Yeah.
I think the problem lies a little bit more with the script than the actual actors themselves. I think the actors did a phenomenal job. I think the sister actor did great. I think OJ did really good as well.
Mhm. Some movies, like literally the acting, like I will sit, like there
Yeah.
are times I'm like, wow, this was.
Yeah.
that never happened a single time.
I did have one little moment where I just brought me out a little bit. And that was when they did the long shot of them walking through the store and getting stuff
Mm-hmm.
and talking about like getting
The Oprah.
yeah, the Oprah thing. And there was just this one point where the sister like monologued for like 5 or something seconds. And it felt forced. Like it felt like there was things that the writer has written and that the character is now saying. It didn't feel like genuine. It was just very much so her just like going on about whatever. I think that's the one thing where it felt too perfect. It was flowing too much. There's like no pauses. It felt very much just like script.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And that was like my one complaint. And then like I said, the other thing was just like OJ didn't have a lot of emotion, but I think he performed it really well. I think it was more of a script issue, and like I think he performed everything he was given pretty much perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the 9 out of 10. Really solid, completely functional.
Yeah, for sure.
Really sold the story. Like characters felt real. You felt invested in them. Just wasn't like you said, like there's films where you're like, oh my god, that is like an incredible acting performance.
Yeah.
Like Marriage Story, example. But like there's some like so raw scenes and stuff like that where
I just didn't quite feel like a 10.
yeah.
Because like a 10 is such a...
Yeah, that's a 10.
Wow. Shocking. Yeah, that's
pretty much it.
That's
Do you want to just talk about just closing thoughts or final score?
8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Kind of broke the rules by doing a decimal.
Mm-hmm.
The unofficial rule that we did not talk about beforehand.
Yeah, you know what? This man said that we should have done 5 out of.
Well, no, not for the overall score, but for these categories.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I just think it's funny that you're like, I think we have like too big of a range, and then you're like, we need more, 8.5.
Well, it's just silly because like
you took the true average.
Well, if you're doing it like out of 5, I would be fine with a decimal point, which is kind of funny because then it's literally at a 10 scale. But it just feels like, okay, in those categories, can I be
like there's like a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1, and each of those have like a in like a
more of a meaning, and you can go in between and do a 4.5.
Like a 4.5 is like, oh, it was extremely good, extremely solid, and it had like so much potential, and they were really cool parts, but it didn't just like.
Which yes, that is the same as a 9, but it just feels better to do 4.5
because it's like it's not it's different because it's all different numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Each of those have their little own connotations.
Yeah.
Where as opposed it's only 5 numbers with 5 specific meanings, and then there's just a range of like
in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for the overall score, I think it makes sense to do wide on a 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, 8.5, very good. I very much enjoyed that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
think you can tell by the way we've talked about it the last hour.
Yeah, I gave it a 9. I think technically, just on paper, just everything we saw and like the script, probably an 8.5. But I got so invested in it, and I really enjoyed it so much that like I think it really deserves the 9.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we should talk about real quick about the social commentary in
True.
it, because that's a big thing with Jordan Peele movies.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched Get Out, but I haven't watched his other movie, so
I don't think I've watched Get Out. I don't think I've
Yeah.
watched either one.
I actually liked it a lot less than I was expecting to. Yeah, I was kind of underwhelmed with it. But that's a whole other thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a horror movie, and I didn't feel that much horror intention in it, so that's like the main thing I had with it. But that one also had a ton of social commentary, because it's literally about this family that basically they have this technology that allows you to transfer your consciousness into another body.
Mm-hmm.
But what they would do is they'd just take these black people and put these rich white people like they would kidnap them, and then they would put the consciousness of like these old white people who are going to die into them.
Yeah. You can see how there's a commentary there.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly, I mean, like there was the mistreatment of like the cast, which was
Yeah.
obviously casting. Well, not the cast, the crew. I think that was like a big thing, especially when he like went riding out with the crew shirt in that big finale.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's the bait, he's expendable, and he has the crew shirt on. I don't think
Yeah.
I need to explain how that's
social commentary.
yeah. And then there's obviously the things where like they were mistreating him and the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also like the animal abuse part, the monkey and the horses.
Yeah.
Which I think were all good. I
Yeah.
like them. They were all solid.
They did a
Yeah. There's some people who hate social commentary.
This was pretty subtle.
Yeah.
And like if you want to ignore it, you could. It didn't drive the movie, I feel.
I wouldn't say it's subtle. I think especially with the paparazzi,
That's true.
I think that was really out there. That is one this is actually my one. Well, actually, I said I have other issues with the movie, but like this is a real issue for me narratively. They portrayed the paparazzi as bad. Like that was a very negative light. Like he was so focused on getting the shot that he literally just died. You know, that's very negative. However, our main characters are doing the exact same thing. They're putting their lives at stake to get the exact same shot that this paparazzi wanted to get. However, they're portrayed in drastically different lights. And I think
because the only difference there is that the characters already knew that they couldn't use an electric camera, so like they're not desperately trying to use an electric camera, which is why also of course he wasn't going to help him get his camera because it wasn't even going to work.
Yeah. There was almost no difference. And where they could have, and this goes back to the character, is when you have two people that are pursuing the same goal essentially, but they're portrayed in a different light, you need to justify those with character motivations. So for example, the paparazzi obviously has bad motivations. He's just trying to get this picture or whatever.
But it would have been nice if it was very clear they were using this money to save the ranch.
Yeah, or like a more like noble cause. Like they're just trying to record this moment in history and like really flesh out why they're trying to get that shot, which I don't think they did. And I really wanted them to flesh out their motivations for trying to
get the shot.
Yeah.
Oprah shot.
The Oprah shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like.
So yeah, I think like that was a big thing, is like that capitalistic commentary on like kind of throwing your life away for money. I mean, like the what's his face? theme park owner, he is portrayed in a negative light.
Yeah.
He wasn't portrayed as a negative character. However, what he was doing was portrayed negatively as like a bad decision.
Yeah.
So like he was putting his life and like everyone's life at risk.
And he was gonna sacrifice the horse too.
To try and like get money essentially. And I think that worked perfectly. That was a great commentary. I think that hit home. Because that like had a reason. Like he had a motivation to do that, but the paparazzi and the main characters, I don't think there was enough justification to portray them so differently.
Yeah.
And like you can read in between the lines, and you can be like, the paparazzi doesn't have good motivations. Our characters do have good motivations, but I don't think it was quite justified.
I think should like wrap this up.
No. I think we should actually go scene by scene.
Frame by frame.
Frame by frame, or actually shot by shot. And we should
Yeah,
record how
how
long
long
the shots
every
are,
shot.
how the distance they're from, the angle.
Dynamic or not?
Yeah, tripod or not. And then what was dynamic about the shot?
No. Not tripod
Pod?
or no tripod. I feel like we have to get the context of
Yeah,
this.
this
though.
is actually wild. So we're gonna film some music videos.
Yeah, soon actually.
Yeah, probably tomorrow.
True.
So we looked at this guitarist, Ichiko Nito, who has some cool guitar music videos. Absolutely love them. We looked at this like 2-minute long guitar only music video, and we went by every single shot. We recorded how many measures.
How many beats
Yeah, how many beats
the shot lasted.
Then we recorded how far the shot away was from the guitarist, then what the angle was, then whether it was not on a tripod.
Or if it was not on a tripod. Which it's a long story
Right.
why that's how we did it, but that's how we did it.
Yeah.
If it was like dynamic or
Yeah. And we spent literally like 2.5 hours on this 2-minute video.
Yeah.
Just
We learned a lot though. Like it
Yeah,
was surprisingly useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never felt like such a nerd in my entire life, though.
We're sitting here, set the scene, in a lake house in Maine.
This beautiful view in front of us. Just
Big open lake, clean water, fresh, like beach.
yeah.
And we could go outside, we could go in the water, we could swim, we could, sit outside, read a book. What are we doing? We are watching a 2-minute video for 2.5 hours, analyzing it. And I did not regret it.
It's like how you actively want to take AP Stats this year.
Yeah. I do want to do that. I'm going to skip band to take AP Stats.
Oh my. All right. Well,
We had other things planned, but it's been an
Yeah.
hour and a half, so
I guess we'll just talk about that stuff next week.
yeah, things to look forward to next week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we went to Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
Definitely talk
so
about
good.
that.
Yeah, there was. Just
Teaser.
yeah, they had Hiromi in trombone shorty. Oh my god. Incredible. Fearless Flyers. Oh my god, it was so good. I loved it. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We had a paid videography gig.
Yeah, we actually got
Did they?
paid to film stuff and just talk.
Yeah. Pretty good gig.
Yeah, $50 an hour. It was crazy.
Very enjoyable. Definitely would.
We definitely deserve to get paid that much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about that next time. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever comes up.
Yeah, we'll probably have done something interesting by then.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right. Well, that's it for us.
See you next week.
Yeah, we'll probably have another movie next week.
Yeah.
So look forward to that if you enjoyed this.
Let us know, because we might want to do it separately. Might keep it in the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys liked this, like the review we just did, because that was like pretty much the majority, then let us know, because then we'll just like
do more of them.
we'll probably just cut it out of the podcast and just make it its own thing.
Yeah.
Which we might do anyways.
Might do that anyway, because I took the entire podcast.
So yeah, let us know what you think. If you want to see more, definitely subscribe, because we're for sure doing this again, because I love that.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So yeah, stick around. Maybe watch some of our shorts.
Yep. And see you next week.
Yeah, later.
Yeah.